So yeah, this whole neighborhood here has these old homes that are now everywhere. So it's nice to walk here, feel like some sense of familiarity to South Africa. And they do have jacaranda trees as well. So if you're a Pretoria girl like I am, you would laugh here during spring when it's all purpley. I think they probably must have been brought by British from South Africa to here, those jacaranda trees, because they're South African trees, but they're everywhere. You can see them everywhere in this area during, I think during spring. They're beautiful, actually. I think I will do another vlog when they start to bloom, the jacaranda, so you can see how this area, it's so much similar to a lot of suburbs in South Africa. Yeah, so that's why you have a lot of South Africans in Australia. I think number 9 on the list of migrants in Australia at the moment. But a lot of South Africans that are here, they have, at least they work in their own, well, there's only a few that don't work in their own skills that I had at home, in their own trade, profession. They work in the same profession. There's only a few people that I know that don't work in the same profession. Those were people who had managerial role in South Africa. They're just working as the help in some store, supermarket, and packing all the product into the shelves and labeling them. So, and of course they can come to you and tell you, South Africans, that they live here, they live a better life, but they don't own any homes, they're renting, and they're just not wealthy. Not wealthy. If you don't have any asset, you're not wealthy. If you can afford a holiday and live yourself in a 5-star hotel, doesn't mean you're wealthy. You just are a spender. That's what you are. To spend all the money that you don't have. In most cases you don't have, you just use a credit card just to, keeping up with the Jonesies. There's a lot of keeping up with the Jonesies here. I told you before, the salary here, if you do the exchange rate, you say, wow, let's say they pay high income in Australia, but that income is not going to afford you basic things like a house. Not to buy it cash, but to even borrow money. To borrow money, to have a mortgage, that high income, that all the recruiters, they tell you about when you're in South Africa. I know that a lot of my family and friends have been telling me that their phones don't stop ringing by these recruiters that are recruiting them actively in South Africa. And so they came to me and asked me how it's like to live in Australia. So hence the Mzansi or story to show them that it's actually not true what they're putting out there. It's all about, when you come here as a migrant, you're being commodified. You're commodity. Okay? You're commodity. And it's to do also with the tax system in Australia. In fact, all of the Western society, they use that same philosophy where workers are taxed higher, in business are not taxed as much, and therefore to pay all the services you need more workers, and therefore you need more migrants to come and work. So you're being commodified in that sense. And even the university is commodified as well. The education is commodified. So just be aware that that person that's recruiting you, they're not going to tell you that you're going to live, likely to be living in a shoebox homes. You're likely not to be able to afford to buy or borrow money from the bank with your income, that when you exchange it to a rand, it looks really high and really good. But when you come to Australia, suddenly you realize shit hit the fan, as we say it here. And cultural shock. Oh my gosh. I don't know, you guys. It is a lot of myths out there. You're going to live like a help. You're going to be a help here. A lot of people even in their professional roles that they had in South Africa, when they come to Australia, they are the help. Okay? I just told you now with this lady who was a Clicks manager, actually. A Clicks, huge pharmaceutical giant in South Africa. You know, everyone was reporting to her. But what she's doing now in Australia, she is packing the product into the shelf. Okay, that is not a success in my view. That is putting yourself into a lower class status in a society just because you can tell South Africans that you live in Australia. Is that it? That's all it's all about? To have an Australian address, to call yourself that you live in a Western society, but you live like a second-class citizen. I mean, you really have to be really careful here what you're putting yourself into. If you are joining a family member, that's fine. If you're a young person, that's fine. Because I came here when I was young anyway, so. So that's how you should look at this process of migration, that it is a commodity. You are part of the commodified individual to come to these Western powers and migrating into them because of the condition that you're going to be working in. So if you're coming here, you've been a manager, you should actually be a manager when you go to that place, when you actually get hired. So something wrong if you get hired and you're no longer a manager, you're no longer in that profession, that role that you were at before you migrated to Australia. That for me is a failure, that is a scam, and many of you do fall into that because of the what you've been told by the media and the recruiters who are recruiting you, who are getting paid a lot more money than you, and you're spending money for that application to be rejected. Huge. I mean, I think there was a lady that showed a situation where in Europe people, they earn millions of dollars out of rejecting people's visa application. Think about that. You know, you spend a lot of money to just get your visa, millions of dollars to reject people's visa. Then you start to realize that, this is business. It's not a genuine thing. Why would you get people to pay that lots of money to have their visa rejected? So many of you don't even have that money, okay? But you are willing to do that. What if I say to you, you would be better off looking at offshore online business that can earn you a American dollar or any currency, British pounds, that you can earn where you are. So instead of spending money paying for that very expensive visa that's going to be rejected, maybe consider looking at those business opportunities that you can actually spend money trying to build up that can earn you the dollar that you're looking for. And nice thing is you'll be living in South Africa or any other country that is not as expensive as here. Don't get me wrong, South Africa do have higher, they have inflation there, but it's not as high as here. As here in so many things. So if you are in those professions, I know that a lot of Western media, they would like to counteract those arguments by pointing out people who are poor in South Africa or people who are poor in other countries. But people who are poor are not applying to migrate into Australia, okay? Because they can't afford it. Okay. Unless they're not. These are not the boat people. Okay, boat people, it's a phenomena of similar to when you have Zimbabwean crossing the river when it's dry to South Africa, illegally come to South Africa. That's the equivalent of boat people in Australia, where people get the people smugglers and pay money to get on the boat to Australia. And that would be in the neighboring countries, the Asian countries. They'll be coming from those countries to Australia. So if you're South Africans or any other person who is a migrant, African migrant, you spend a lot of money, you have to apply. And when you do apply, you're often not a poor person in that country you're from. You're middle class in that country, so because you can afford to pay that visa. The amount of visa you pay for that is the amount equivalent to some of the most lucrative business opportunities that are available right now online. That is the amount of a visa person trying to apply and get it rejected. So you gotta be strategic here, and this is why our partnership with this company that provide personal leadership and development for individuals like you and I, who are professional in our own rights, just to look at things a little bit different. You need that personal leadership for your own personal life, and coaching someone that can guide through it, and look at you, and you can, work together your plan and your personal development plan that's just for you, not in the workplace, that's involve your family, your aspiration, where you want to be. If you're single, do you want a family? None of that. It's personal development for yourself. And also financially, of course, and your health as well. They're all together. So you look for things that works for you, not things that works for everyone. So I do encourage professional people who have a bit of money, who are working, to invest in that personal leadership and development for themselves, because that can mean a lot more different. It certainly meant so much for me, professionally and financially. So I can't complain about that I'm getting paid to say this to you guys. Getting paid a lot of money to say this. Okay, that's a disclaimer when you consider that. That Colin's getting paid to say that I need to consider personal leadership and development. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm just walking in this beautiful, lovely neighborhood. I'm nearly close to home now, guys. Nearly close to home. And yeah, so I've been vlogging a lot lately because I am well now everything feels like, new and lovely. Kind of like feel like when I was in South Africa in January. Feel healthy, revitalized. South Africa is something about just walking into our international airport. You just feel like a person. You are really, feel like a human being, actually. It provides you this energy. Can't wait to get back to you guys in Johannesburg, the Josie people. Josie. Thank you guys. See ya. Hi, hello. Yes, I am back from my morning walk. In that video you just watched, I was walking along my neighborhood in my morning walk. So I've been really consistent and doing my walk as I should. So I'm back home now, and I just wanted to say thank you guys for all your comments, and really appreciate your support for this channel. And just wanted to elaborate on that video, which is not clear because I've been walking along the street, is that migration is a big business in most Western society, and you've seen that in America, UK, Canada, Australia, and so on. There is a huge business in having a lot of migrants into these countries, for good reason. In that video I explained that a lot of it is to do with the tax system and how in order for them to pay for services, they need to have workers, and they need to tax them, because the tax that they do to the business is not enough to cover for all the shortfall in the budget. So they need all those migrants, despite actually the citizens of those countries probably would not want to have that higher migration number, right? So I think when people talk about migration, they tend to be really like to polarize the subject, but the subject isn't polarizing if you actually look at from that perspective of what are you benefiting as a migrant if you go to that country, and what are you gaining. And in my role as a director of business of development at a Thrive Pathway, with actually what I do normally, I speak to a lot of people, international people. Every day I have to get up very early in the morning and speak to those clients of that company who are everywhere around the world. They do market and sell the personal leadership programs for a number of clients. So what I found is that a lot of people that I discuss, that I tend to talk to in relation to where they are, they may be in Canada or UK and so on, and often because I'm someone of migrant background, so I'll talk to a lot of my clients are of migrant from that Western country. There'll be migrant, for example, in Canada, there'll be migrant in the UK or New Zealand, or in Germany. Just like a few days ago I was talking to someone in Germany, so on. So it seemed to be a familiarity in terms of what they actually migrants have been promised in that third country. A lot of Western countries who actually have built a good brand on attracting people to come to wanting to be in their countries. Be like, for example, a Coca-Cola brand. When somebody has a Coca, that Coca-Cola have actually built their own brand, and you want to have it. If you feel like sluggish, you want to go and buy yourself that Coca-Cola. It's a brand. So those countries have actually built those brands. Many of them would be UK, Canada, all the USA, all those Western powers have built those brands on that for many years. But now people are finding that when they arrive in those countries, it's like it's like a booking a being charged a 5-star rates and then getting to that hotel and you suddenly realize it's a 2-star hotel. This is what the reaction, this is analogy here, the reaction I am sort of sensing from people, that the feeling of those high performing, that they want to get them into Australia, they want to get them into Canada, they want to get them into the UK. When they arrive in those countries, they don't see that they feel like they're being robbed. They paid 5-star, they've been charged 5-star, and then they've been offered a 2-star services. And that is the sense that I'm feeling a lot. Even here in Australia, we've had a couple of our friends that have actually moved back to South Africa because of the things I've been pointing out to all of you people, that, you know, the people who want to be here are people who would normally be living really in conditions that are not acceptable. We're not talking about, you know, illegal migrant. We're not talking about people who are refugee here. It's about migration with high skills migrant who are coming to the country. And those people, when they are in that country, they are high class in those countries. And I told you that South Africans who are in South Africa, who are migrating to Australia, they come from South Africa as middle class to high class. They are not the South Africans that you, the media in Australia, like to point out about, like to talk about when they talk about South Africa and the rest of the continent of Africa and other maybe Asian countries as well. But I'm South Africans, I'm African, so I'm speaking from that perspective. So when they present all this information, they fail to actually allude and actually make it clear to the Australians who are listening to these mainstream medias about actually what is the people that are coming over to these countries. And when these people come to this country and they realize that actually, oh my God, we've been charged a 5-star rates and then we're getting a 2-star services, and they don't want to be here. And this is very much common now, and especially for people who migrated to Canada. And now we're seeing a lot of people from Australia now who are wanting to be out. They cannot find place to live. If they do, it's a small little place and they have to pay it at a high price. Even that promise high income that we're promised doesn't actually qualify them to even have a holiday, to even have a break, to visit their family and friends back at home. So in that sense, it looks like, yeah, you actually being robbed. That's how it looks like for a high skilled migrant who are coming to Australia or who are coming to UK, who are moving to these countries. So of course, there's a lot of high demand for certain countries to come over to Australia. And we know those countries, why they would have high demand for those people from that country to come to Australia. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking from the African's perspective and from the diaspora's perspective, what we're seeing from the insight that we have around the trend that probably ABS, I don't think the Australian Bureau of Statistics has picked up on it, because I had a look and see if they would actually have had any records. You know, they do talk about these net migration. It's still going higher in Australia. But even though it's going higher, the people that are here, they're not working in that field that we're actually being recruited to come to Australia and work for. So some of them are here because they don't want to go back, and they, you know, it's a pride for them. A lot of them, it's a pride, like the lady that I told you who was actually a Click manager. Clicks is the pharmaceutical giant in South Africa, one of them. You know, it's a huge brand. So if you are working and picking up and packing up product into the shelf and you were a manager, people were reporting to you, and you suddenly don't even want to go back home because you feel disappointed. You feel like people are going to judge you because you failed. So they stay, some of them stay in those roles that are actually, you know, are kind of like the help role. They're not really, they're a very important role, but they're not, it's not a role you get someone who's had a managerial position into it. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. So this is what I'm seeing a lot. And a lot of these people with higher confidence and the skill set, they actually don't want to be here. They are actually making plans to go back into South Africa, to go back into other countries where they can actually feel like they're actually working harder, and they can see through their bank account, through their lifestyle, and it's nice and beautiful them. And I say for you people, like I said in that video, you know, consider, you know, self-employment, consider online business opportunity, become a digital nomad. Business is business. A real business is the one that you have to have a business plan. That's the one you have to have everything and be supported to grow, and all the marketing and everything. It's not just a scam. So don't fall for these scams, because there's a lot of them out there. But you can actually feel smart, and as I think you all are, you would be able to figure that one out and see which one works for you. And until the next vlog, guys, enjoy your weekend, and I'm gonna enjoy mine. See you guys. Bye for now.